reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 249. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my very good friend, Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
Good evening, Chris.
And the wonderful, ever so talented writer, performer, comedian, star of stage and screen, Mr. Harry Hall. Hello, Harry.
Hi there. I'm so tired, but I'll try to be enthusiastic.
How dare you be so successful, Harry? I mean, I thought you were beyond this of having your own success. You were supposed to put all of this energy where you are now a regionally known comedian into the show.
I wouldn't say I'm regionally known. I would say I'm locally, vaguely recognized.
Like
as locally
corner,
as in my own house.
Like your house and your neighbor.
Municipally familiar.
Yeah. It's more like, I know that guy from something. Is it the supermarket? Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's been before we get too much into the show, I do want to highlight how wonderful it has been seeing you post stuff on Facebook and the success that you've been having with your stand-up career. Why don't you give us just a minute or so of how things have been going for you?
I died on stage. No, I don't know. It's just I don't know if that's interesting for people who are coming here for the MMO part of the podcast. But I'm
They're
basically
here for you, Harry.
Yeah. Well, I as I said, I'm kind of in the little league of stand-up right now. I'm working my way towards being better, and that's basically it. I'm performing in Rotterdam next week, and in a small town called Zeist, actually in a castle theater.
Ooh.
Which
Cool.
sounds very cool.
Are you going to make some fantasy jokes?
Well, that's maybe a good idea. I should try that.
See, I expect royalty checks anytime.
Yeah, I will give you 10% of nothing, which is what I make with it.
I'll take it. No,
but it's just fun. I mean, there is nothing as honest as comedy. I mean, if you're a singer and you're marginally on key, people will applaud politely. No one will laugh politely. They will just stare at you, wondering what the hell you just said.
Chat room's wondering if any of your stand-up is on YouTube anywhere.
Well, it's hidden, and for good reason. Several reasons. Well, not just the lack of quality, because I think I did a couple of good sets, but if there's one big mistake I could make right now, I don't have that much material, and if I put it out on YouTube now, I'll just show you everything I do, which might not be the smartest move to make. But it's just I saw a documentary called Comedian about Jerry Seinfeld. After Seinfeld, he basically retired all of his old material and went back on the road to make an entirely new show. And it takes him a year to get an hour's worth of solid material, and he's a pro.
Wow.
So, and you see him, and that's the fun thing. I always had the highest respect for people who went on stage and made people laugh. That respect went up 1,000-fold. Now I actually experienced how freaking difficult it is to get good material on a consistent level and being able to. It's just very, very difficult and so much fun.
Yeah. All right, so there's a little bit of our real world lives. Why don't we dig into what we've been doing in games? Bill, I dare you to tell me two things. Number one, how much you loved online play in Rocket League, and number two, how you have not played Guild Wars 2. Go.
I'm torn.
That little pause said it all.
Because I would love to do exactly what you've asked, Chris, because I'm an accommodating soul.
You are.
I like to think of myself as a helper.
Yep.
But I'm not going to. I played Guild Wars 2. I played Guild Wars 2 more than I played anything else. I like Guild Wars 2. Ooh, I did the Dragon Stand big event, fighting Mordremoth at the end and everything like that. And I finally got a couple good runs for that. And it's my favorite is still the defending Tarir event in Auric Basin, but Dragon Stand is actually a lot of fun, and I will happily run that whenever it's active. It was very cool.
That's very awesome.
So that was fun. The Mordremoth fight is a little bit underwhelming. It's huge. It can't be done with less than probably 75 or 80 people there. It needs it's epic in the number of people that it requires, but it's really not epic in its difficulty. So, but mind you, a lot of people said that about Zaitan too in the first season. But anyway, so that was fun. I still have not done any ranked play in Rocket League. It's going to happen.
We
someday.
Need to stream your first online experience in Rocket League.
God, that would be just miserable. I'd probably turtle myself and get stuck on my back or something like that for the whole match.
Quick cut to Bill slowly rocking as he sobs in a corner.
Yeah, you'll see other guys racing around, great shots bouncing off the wall, and then you'll get the Betty Hill music as I'm trying to right myself.
Aww.
So anyway, I played Civ 5. I did a couple turns for Civ 5, and then and then a couple hundred more. So
it's like potato chips. There isn't anything like there isn't one turn of Civ 5.
It's ridiculous. No, because I get into this thing where I start and I'm like, okay, I want to play. And oh nope, this map sucks. I got to restart. So oh nope, I don't have enough resources. I'm going to do a new map here. I got too many neighbors. I want to find another new map. Okay, so now I've got a map I like. Great, trucking along. Okay, I'm just gonna get archery done so that I can defend myself when I come back and play late. Oh dang it, I'm being attacked by barbarians. Oh no, now I have to defend myself. Now I have archers. Kill the barbarians. Oh, now if only I had horses. It's amazing. Like I know what it is when I start. Like I know that I'm playing something that I'm not going to be playing for half an hour, that this is 4 hours and I'm not going to sleep and I'm going to be drooping at my desk the next day. And that's just life. But I still do it because there's the hint of a chance that, a turn only takes 2 minutes. What could possibly go wrong?
And that's the thing about Civ 5 is the most common words are, I'm just gonna blank a little bit.
The thing is, and this is the thing that blows my mind, like Civ 5 does that to me every time. Beyond Earth, not even close. I've picked up Beyond Earth several times, and I'm always done in under an hour. And it's not a bad game, but it doesn't have near that crack-like quality to it that Civ does. If you could somehow bottle that, you would be an instant trillionaire.
Well, it's the feeling also of having real or recognizable toys to play with, because you're talking about archery and horses, and before you know it, you're in the mid game and you're actually with 20th century technology, and then you're fighting countries that are still in the Stone Age, and you're using bombers and
oh dude, nuking a guy who's shooting arrows at you, that's just
great.
That's awesome.
So anyway, other than that, I did a little bit more Elite Dangerous. I did my first ever kill 20 pirates mission. It's the first time it's ever popped up as a legitimate mission for me that I actually had the right credentials for, the right rankings and that kind of thing. And it was actually faster than I thought it was going to be, but it still was. Again, I intended to sit down, play for half an hour, and just barely 2 hours later, I was killing my last pirate and heading home to cash in my 500,000 credit reward, I might add too. So that was the most return on a mission that I've ever got before too. So Elite is, I still like Elite, but it's really in the same realm as Civ. Like, you can't sit down at Elite and play for
5 minutes. No.
5 minutes or even half an hour. Like, I don't think you can do anything in Elite worthwhile in under 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there.
Yeah, well, or you would have to go into CQC.
Even then, I'll talk about that because I had some. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. We've got a news story about Elite, so.
Yeah, so that's basically my week. How about you, Harry? What have you got up to?
Well, first I angered a lot of people.
No.
Yeah, it's quite kind of amazing. But I played Star Citizen and I wrote an article about it, and I got more than 200 comments on that article, which is a record for me. I wrote about my experiences playing the current alpha as it is, which sucks because it runs terribly. It's not optimized, and I can accept that will be better, but at this moment, it's not a well optimized game. It's using CryEngine, which sucks, but that doesn't matter. But even if it would have run silky smooth at 60 frames per second with perfect lighting and everything working and no clipping and not falling out of your spaceship, which happened to me, by the way. I got into my spaceship, and the cool thing I thought was you can actually walk about a little bit in your ship, and you can actually, and the ship that I got has a little bed, and you can lie in there, you can look up through a panoramic window, look at the stars. So I fly away from the space station, I hit full throttle, and I think, you know what, I get up out of the chair, I lie into the bed. So I get up, I look at the door, and all of a sudden everything goes black, and I just see my ship go away at warp speed. I was floating in space, looking at the ship going 20 kilometers away, and I had to float back to the station. I could have suicided out, but I thought,
You floated back, just used your little...
Yeah, well, and I don't know, Chris Roberts isn't... Let's just say his knowledge of physics is rudimentary at best. I've ranted about the fact that in the actual Wing Commander movie, a ship crashes on the deck of a ship that's in 0G, lies there, then trucks drive over the deck and push the ship off, which falls down. Where, sir? There's no gravity. Okay, so this guy who made this game gives you a jetpack floating into space. Did the guy ever hear of Newton? If you push the forward button, you accelerate. If you let go, you slow down. Why?
I'm sure they have retro little rockets, right?
No.
But you know what? I'm sure as well that Chris Roberts personally coded the physics engine, so you're assigning the blame to exactly the right person.
Hey, he is responsible for this. The buck stops there. 105 million bucks stop there. But okay, apart from that,
it's magnets. It's got to be magnets.
Okay, some guy actually made that argument. I'm not. No.
Hey,
don't tempt me, Frodo.
Bill, let's see how much we can push him over the edge. Yes, Star Citizen looks really great. I mean, I don't understand what your complaints are. You do realize it's in alpha, right?
Okay, now you're just trying to hurt
me. You
me.
could go forward if you just hold the magnet in front of you. You go forward. If you hold the magnet behind you, you go backwards. Exactly. That's how it works, right?
Oh God, Looney Tunes. Okay, if you look down and you see the abyss, you fall. Okay.
Okay.
So I've experienced the game, and I've seen what it has to offer, which is you can shoot pirates around a couple of beacons. You can get out of your ship whether you want to or not, apparently. And you can go into a station which is in 0G and you can float through the corridors, which is actually pretty cool looking, but that is basically it. And I wrote about that this was what it is right now. And I am fully aware that the game is still in development. I mean, it's only 4 years in. I mean, what can you expect? That doesn't matter.
You know, I have to say, what I'm looking forward the most right now as I listen to you talk is one of our Twitter followers, Ken from Chicago, will often live tweet his listening of the show as he goes through the show. And I'm just waiting for the tweets to come through as you discuss this.
I'm disgusted. Oh wait, discuss. Yeah, but there isn't anything actually there yet, and that's fine if it's coming. And please finish the game and make it cool. But right now they're asking a minimum of $45 for entry into the game.
Harry,
and yes,
Harry, I bought the game last week.
Yeah, I can understand it because I gave it such a glowing recommendation every time I talked about it. I mean, if you can't take my advice on that.
It's 2 weeks ago. It was during the recording of the show.
So actually what I was talking about...
No, you weren't there 2 weeks ago.
I must get this game. I mean, I'm here.
It was right before they did the split between Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, so I wanted to get in before they did the split.
So basically you fell for it.
Totally. Hook, line, and sinker. And then I played the game, couldn't get my joystick to work, and I didn't want to throw anything at my screen, so I quit. But it ran smooth as silk. Wow, what a well-optimized game.
Again, even if that were true, and
it totally is.
Yeah, well, even if it was true, even if that is true for everybody, there is no reason right now to pay $45 for it, unless you fall for the trap for Squadron 42, which is going to be delayed. I will guarantee that this game is not going to make it at the end of the year. Never mind. Okay, So I wrote about that, and imagine my surprise. There are Star Citizen fans out there who actually responded to my article with the argument, well, of course it's not very fun to play because it's an alpha, so you can't really write about it right now. Well, of course I can write it. If you have to pay to get in, I can tell you what it is like now. And they say, well, yeah, but you shouldn't be negative about the game, dude. It's just an alpha. It's alpha. Fuck you. Okay, sorry.
I can't argue with that.
No, but you. Okay.
Sorry, are you complaining about Elite Dangerous now?
Elite Dangerous is actually quite fun. I'm relaxing as we speak about it. I have shelved the game for a little while because I am kind of annoyed by the mission system, which is confusing and not progressing well. And exactly that is the point that they're tackling with the coming update. And that coming update is right around the corner. They just did the penultimate dev update, which is a dev blog about what they're planning to do. So there's going to be another one. And then after that, we're probably going to see an alpha or beta release. And even if that sucks, you can't complain about that because it's alpha, dude. So I'm looking forward to the changes to the mission system. And I don't mind waiting a couple of weeks before I play the game again because it's going to be there and it's going to be fun. Since I was on the road a lot, I got my 3DS with me and I played Bravely Second, which is the sequel to Bravely Default. And Chris is already falling asleep because it's one of the greatest JRPGs ever made. I played Far Cry Primal.
Oh, what do you think of that?
I think it's pretty cool. I was never a big Far Cry fan. I usually get bored about an hour in, and this time the setting really does a lot. I mean, it's absolutely not a realistic setting. There is magic and all kinds of shortcuts, but it's really fun to just have that feeling of survival and primitive surroundings. And I just got my owl, which is kind of like your drone because you can use it to scout around and mark enemies, and I expected to hate this game, and I started playing it, and after an hour...
You wanted to hate this game, didn't you?
No, not really. No? It's more my experience with Far Cry so far was like, it's okay, but it's never really sticky or something. And now I just got sucked in, and I thought, oh, wow, I'm playing for an hour. I didn't even notice, and a lot of fun. Also very OCD because there's so much stuff to gather and to craft with, so it's good. I picked up Mass Effect 3 again because it didn't finish yet, and I still don't know why everybody's angry at Mass Effect 3, so I still have to finish it. So I fired up my old 360, and after playing my Mass Effect for a bit, I thought, you know what, I can do better, and I just started playing Dragon Age Inquisition again. Since I
multiplayer, right? You love the multiplayer, don't you?
So I'm playing the story mode, ignoring Chris as we go along, and it took me a while to get back into the game again because some RPGs you really shouldn't leave lying for too long. It's like leaving a book halfway and then picking it up 6 months later. But I got back into it, and it's so much fun. It is such a great game. So that's my week in gaming. How about you, Chris?
I think a couple things that are different and interesting, at least for me, is that I've been playing a lot more console. I dove in for the first time ever into Destiny, the Iron Banner event that comes up, which is a PvP event, because I saw some of the gear that's available at some of the higher ranks, and I wanted it because it looks cool. So I dug in, and I to be ready here, this may shock you, I don't completely suck. Which at every other PvP, I'm happy being the guy who's the cannon fodder for the guy behind me to then go and kill everybody.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case here. I'm actually quite aggressive with my playstyle. If I've got a good group, I'll stick with the group. I'll usually do the sort of rear guard position as I'm going through stuff and make sure nobody sneaks up behind us. But if my group is sort of all over the place, I won't say regularly. I'll regularly be in the top 3 in score, but I will, with some regularity, be the top scorer on my team. Because I am quite aggressive. I tend to push enough to get behind the other team, and whereas most people will run away or jump or something to get out of the way if they run into someone, I tend to, if I see someone and it's one of those jump moments where they're right there, I'll just spam my melee and run closer. And that seems to be working for me. I'm actually doing fairly well. I'm rank 3 now, and I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it.
It's so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. Doing really well.
I prefer the PvP in Destiny to the actual missions. It's just very good competitive shooter.
It's really good. And speaking of shooters, I actually jumped into the Division during the weekend as well, and I grabbed some footage of that to show here. And I did do the darkness or the dark zone stuff that was going on there, and I think that was probably where I had the most fun out of anything. And for those of you who don't know, the way the Division PvP works, or at least this dark zone area, is you run around in this area and you have to get these canisters of biohazard stuff, bring it back to an extraction zone, you call a chopper to come in and extract, and then you wait. Everybody knows the chopper's coming, and then you hook up your canister of whatever, and away you go, you get points. But the thing is, nobody is flagged for PvP, but at any time, any player can shoot any other player, and if you shoot and kill another player, you are then marked as rogue, and everybody else can kill you. And that's how you get more XP and points and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, and if you go rogue and you die, you lose more XP than
correct.
When you... Yeah, so there's a very interesting balanced punishment for going rogue while still having the rewards of being able to steal everything from everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I liked the setting. I thought they did a good job of setting it up in New York. I think I played a bunch of it on my Vita as well, and just like Destiny, the control scheme that they have for it detects that you're on a Vita, that you're using remote play, and the control scheme that they've got is absolutely fantastic. It's a little hard because it is quite a detailed world, and the details don't transfer over superbly well to the small screen, but I was able to do the PvE stuff. I didn't do any PvP on the Vita, but all the PvE stuff I was able to do fairly well. And I really like the cover-based mechanics of it. Have you played it, Harry?
Yes, I actually did. I played it the previous beta,
Okay.
and I really liked it. And one of the reasons I got back into Mass Effect because the combat system really reminded me of it.
Right.
It's the same type of cover-based shooter with some special powers that you can use with the shoulder buttons. And
Yeah.
I prefer it to Destiny, and some people are actually some people say that is wrong, and they just don't know what they're talking about because it's so much fun. I like the setting. It has a certain weight. The shooting isn't the best ever. The AI of the enemies. I mean, sorry, if you're using a shotgun or a machine gun and you're fighting from cover, and there are always 2 or 3 idiots who run up at you with a club while you're armed with a machine gun. I'm sorry, that's not good AI programming. But it doesn't matter. It's still fun, and it is I really look forward to this game.
Here's what I like about it compared to Destiny. I love the cover-based aspect of it. That's a lot of fun. Makes it easier for me, who's not necessarily the strongest Destiny player, to be much more successful in the game, much more strategic in the way that I approach something, which to me is more fun. And that just works to me. It's not sort of that run and gun style of gameplay. It's a little bit more strategic. I love the visuals of it. Your character, the way the appearance stuff looks, the way your gear hangs on your character's body. That I like that. For the longest times, the reason I played games, it was for progression and for, if I play long enough, I'll get new stuff, right? And that this does this very, very well, and I really enjoy it. And I'm pretty sure I'll be playing this at launch. Like, really sure. Actually, I can say right now, I'll be playing this at launch.
PlayStation 4.
And the MMO aspect of it, it does have that consistency. It does have open world with other players, although like Destiny, it is in sort of phases, for lack of a better term, or maps or instances of the map where you're not always with all the other players. The matchmaking, although I didn't get a chance I was in pretty late on this beta, I didn't get a chance to do any of the missions with other players. The system itself seems super easy to use. Like, really easy out in the world, being able to just group up with someone for a mission out in the world. Did you get a chance to use that, Harry?
I did group up a couple of times, and the game became a lot more fun. I do think this is a game you need to play with other people. And the first session I did, I jumped into the game, and a couple of colleagues of mine saw me come online and invited me immediately. Yeah. So my first experience with the game was playing co-op, which was really a great introduction. And I am fascinated by what they're doing with the Dark Zone. And I would not be surprised if this is something that will be emulated by other games in the near future, because the concept, it's almost like a free-for-all MMO PvP server.
Yeah.
It's almost going back to the Ultima Online days of player killers. Right. And I really, my experience there wasn't that good, because I got into the zone, and as far as I know, there was only one entrance, and there were a couple of rogue players just camping there and just killing everybody coming in, and that didn't really enhance the experience. That basically was the worst part of player killing that you can expect.
Right.
But if that is fleshed out, and if there are no more bottlenecks like that, I think it would be a very interesting experience.
And I think the Dark Zone is at its best when it's a whole bunch of players against a few rogues, and you're manhunting them down. Yeah. That was my favorite experience there. All right, so that is the Division beta. We'll have some more news on it there. Oh, the one thing I wanted to mention, sorry. In the Dark Zone as well, you do get other players' loot when you kill them. You lose loot, and other people can loot it from you. It's not all your stuff.
But that's the thing. If you go rogue, there are advantages, and there are definite rewards.
Yeah. I think we talked about XP. I don't know if we talked about loot. But anyway, it's fantastic. Go check out some more news about the Division if you are interested in those MMO-ish shooters. Also played Neverwinter. Had last week's show was an interview with Scott Schickoff about the new content coming out there for Neverwinter, the Maze engine coming out on PC soon, and Xbox later. And I think I'm done with Neverwinter for a while. The 60 to 70 grind is so damn painful. And I have been using XP boosts the whole time that pretty much double my XP, and I'm finding it grindy. What does that tell you? Like, it's painful, and it doesn't sound, from my interview, I wasn't necessarily overly impressed that they are looking to make a huge revamp. Yeah, we're still looking at it, and we'll continue to make tweaks, and it's just too painful. I can't do it anymore. So I'm going to take a break. And hopefully I'll come back to it because I really like playing the game, but I don't like that absolute snail's pace of progression. And there is content that's waiting for me at level 70 that I'm trying to get to, so I do want to get there, right? It's not just like Guild Wars 2 where you just kind of go play and you'll keep moving through stuff. Anyways, Lotro, been jumping back into Lotro. I actually followed your discussion from a while back, Harry, and I used a bunch of turbine points and put my character on Landraval up to level 95, and I've been leveling that character up. We're going to restart Skirmish of Skirmishes on Lotro Reporter. And so I've been getting my champion up on Landraval so that we have two servers that we can bring listeners or other players into the Skirmish of Skirmishes to play with us. So we'll have Brandywine and Landraval. So
it almost sounds like a better idea to just make a new character and bring that up to level 95 than leveling up an existing one. Because my experience with that wasn't really very positive. Yeah,
and the other option was to do a server transfer, but and I talked about this on Lotro Reporter. I can't bring myself to leave Brandywine with my warden, with my character that I play. I don't. It's not like I have this big guild or a whole bunch of people that I always play with, but that's just my character. That's his home.
Yeah. It's his universe.
Yeah, and it's weird. Any other game, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I can transfer. Yeah,
I have the same thing with Laurel in the role-playing server.
Yeah.
It feels like, no, you can't leave.
Yeah. Another game I think I'm done with as well is Blade and Soul. I'll probably push through in the next little while and get up to level cap, but now I'm getting to the point where I've experienced the content. I love the what am I trying to say here? The dungeon queue system. It's kind of like a lobby thing where you go in, and I've had such success with every dungeon, including the leveling dungeons. And I know we're still near launch, but all the hardcore players are already up at cap. But I get pops for dungeons all the time within 3 seconds. So that's going really well. Like that, the PvP is the same way. It kind of pulls you out of the game, a lobby system. It's weird that I dislike that so much in Guild Wars 2, but don't mind it here, and I don't know why. I'm trying to find maybe it's just because you're actually in a world in Guild Wars 2 where you're just sitting around in the world, whereas in Blade and Soul you're actually in a lobby. Like you're not logged into your character. You're just sitting there as in a character login screen. And maybe that's why it doesn't bug me. Can't quite figure it out.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm happy to sit there and queue for a dungeon and go into that lobby and just wait. And then I'll do something half paying attention. Oh, but that's for PvP. It's taken me a little longer. For the dungeon pops, it's 2 seconds. So maybe that's why it's been such quick pops for everything that I don't have a problem with it. Maybe that's why. Elite Dangerous, I've also been playing as well. Loving the X55, the Rhino Sci-Tech stick and throttle. Absolutely fantastic. I jumped into some close quarters combat, basically Arena, which we'll talk about in a minute because Arena was launching and I wanted to get back into that to be able to discuss it. It's a really fantastic space PvP game. Really fun. I'm starting to get to the point where I can use flight assist off to manipulate my momentum and do that in the fighting, and that's a lot of fun, but I'm still pretty low level. I tried going in on Xbox to play QCC, and I waited for 45 minutes. I ended up starting to make dinner as I waited for a queue to pop on Xbox for the close quarters combat, which is horrible.
I didn't have that problem in the PC version.
No, PC version I did not. I did both. And the PC version, it popped within, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Oh, much quicker. But I played it just after they launched
There you go.
the thing. So
Yeah, so we'll talk about the launch of that. Played Star Citizen, but we already talked about that. Had horrible troubles with my stick and throttle. And then, last but not least, Star Wars Battlefront, although that's been very low. I just played with my kids a little bit.
By the way, the stick and throttle thing in Star Citizen, you can only set that up by either editing the configuration files or using console commands in the game. There aren't any menus that allow you to customize your joystick. It's a very annoying and very typical Star Citizen type way of doing things.
Poop. Absolute poop. Okay, I'm done. Want to mention that's what we've been doing in game. Want to mention our wonderful patrons, 31 of them. They are absolutely fantastic people, and we want to thank them very much for keeping the metaphorical lights on here at MMO Reporter. You are wonderful people. Thank you so much. We love what we do. We like that you enjoy it, and thank you for supporting us as we try to do that. If you'd like to become a patron, then check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter, as well as the patron rewards that we've got there. We also do things like invite patrons for play sessions. I started there with Skirmish of Skirmishes to try to find some people. We have a Slack channel for our patrons where we can chat with you about all your favorite gaming experiences and some kind of random stuff as well. And it's a great way for us to connect with our listeners and viewers as well. So go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter.
You can't out-threat the tank and just pew pew and think you'll last the fight and anger me. Wipe the group and never clear the rain. More than deeds is all you have to do to make the rain. Then you wouldn't be a noob and you'd pew pew 'cause you didn't.
Well, maybe we can talk about something fun, which is Elite Dangerous' new arena game. A very interesting move from Frontier. They actually they used to have a player versus player module, basically completely separate from the actual full persistent universe, where you just hop in and kill stuff, other players, player versus player, or a free roll or team deathmatch. And they've separated that. Well, actually, not really, but they've made the arena module available as a standalone game. It's still included with the full Elite experience, and it's just an option you have. Players who play the standalone module are matched to players who already are playing the full Elite game. So they're not separating universes or anything. And they've made it available for the low price of $7.49 US, £4.99 if you're in England. And I don't care what it's in euros, but it's very cheap. It's just
That's
something
killer deal.
It's a
that actually is, considering all the heat that Elite got for the pricing of its season pass. That's really reasonable.
Actually, it's even more reasonable than that. We can make it even cheaper, Bill and Chris, because it's actually a discount. If you decide to go for the full Elite experience, you can actually get a discount of the purchase price on your next purchase of Elite. And a friend of mine made a very interesting analysis. He says basically what they're doing is selling you a demo, and that's not that far from the truth. Only it's not really a demo for Elite, because there was this, after they released this, there were a couple of magazines who made news articles about it, and one of them said it's Elite without the boring stuff.
Right.
And that is such bull. Come on. The actual game. Okay. Kill him with fire. But it's
No, come back down.
Now, hold on, wait. We at MMO Reporter do not encourage any murder or death by fire. Please proceed with caution.
If you get caught, don't come to us. Basically, that's what we're saying.
Harry did
we
it.
know.
It's Harry's fault.
Anyway,
get
it's
caught,
I'm gonna
you
roll
did it
on you
wrong.
like no hesitation. You know that, Harry, right?
before the sentence is finished.
Yeah.
You know, Harry.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing though. So basically, just to clear up what you were saying. So if let's say right now, just to make numbers easy, let's say that Elite Dangerous full game is $20. Let's just say that for now. You pay $7.49, $7.50 basically for Arena. You will then have to pay the difference to buy the full game. So you'll get the full price of Arena minus what you paid, full price of the game minus what you paid for Arena. Now, hey, I wonder if it'll work if they take the game on sale. Will they then do a proportional amount minus? So let's say they've got a $10 sale on Elite Dangerous. Will they still take the $7.49 off, or are they going to take a proportional amount off? That'll be interesting.
My head hurts. I don't know. I don't care. I just know that the CQC is a fun bit of the game, and if you just because everything, all the physics and simulation aspects of Elite Dangerous are still in full effect. You're actually, it's one of the best space combat engines out there. It is on par with it's not the same, but it's on par with X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and better than the Wing Commander games because it has a certain weight and a certain speed still, and it really is a lot of fun. If you're just in it for the combat, it's a great space combat game, and the arenas are actually more interesting than in the full game because they have space stations where you fly around and battle, and it makes it much more vivid and much more arcadey without sacrificing on the depth of maneuverability and all your weapon and loadouts and weight. So I think it's a very interesting introduction. I do think that people who play this and think this is what Elite is going to be about are going to be disappointed because Elite is a much more thoughtful, slow-paced game. And I'm very active on the Reddit, the Elite Dangerous Reddit, and something people said made very much sense. The player versus player is actually more fun in CQC because people don't risk anything. People actively avoid battles in the Elite Dangerous universe if they are not sure that they can win it. Because if you're flying a hauler or you're just doing exploration, you're not going to be a fair fight to 2 or 3 anacondas who are rigged for battle. So it's not a fair or fun experience to do open PvP there. And here you can just go crazy. You fly little fast ships and no risk of losing 300,000 credits on your full loadout ship or car or whatever. So it's a much more satisfying combat experience than the full game can offer.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's fantastic. And I do think that if you're at all interested in space games, you should go out and look at this. Now, I know we all have joysticks that we use for Elite. I think at least you do as well, right, Harry?
Yeah, I still have my HOTAS.
So, what has anybody used a keyboard at all? I know controller for Xbox is fantastic, but what about keyboard? No?
It technically works. But it's just about the most boring way you could play.
I ask because I'm wondering if this is something we can recommend for everyone, even if they're playing on a keyboard, or if this is just if you've got a controller or joystick, it's fantastic. If you've got a keyboard, it's an okay purchase.
If you bought it and all you had was a keyboard and mouse, this is the gateway drug to getting a flight stick. Because you would play it for a while and you would probably appreciate that it's okay, but you would also very quickly realize that it would be 10 times more fun with a flight stick.
And even the Logitech one, I think it was the flight stick, that was only like $50. You can get cheap
you can
ones,
get
right?
a decent flight stick. Like I've just got a little $50 Thrustmaster that's got.
Me too.
Yeah, that was the one, the Thrustmaster. Yeah, not Logitech. Yeah,
and it's been good for me. It's got it's slick. It doesn't have the it's got a built-in throttle knob on it, or not a knob, but just a slider. It doesn't have a separate piece for actually slamming the throttle,
Oh,
which
okay,
I
no, that's not the same one that I have.
I desperately miss, but it's good. Yeah, I can't remember the model number of it. It's T16000M.
I have a Thrustmaster. Wait, damn it! I forgot the name. T-Flight. T-Flight.
Yeah, T-Flight
X.
Hodis X.
Yeah. And
that's the same one I've got. Yeah.
Yes, and that does have a separate throttle, and the satisfaction of just being able to match your speed in combat, but just moving your left hand. And I'm sorry, I geek out every time I have to hit the button to lower my landing gear. It's just, it feels okay. You're easing your way to the landing pad, and you just you flip a switch, and you hear the ka-chunk sound of the landing gear going out, and it adds so much to the experience to have a physical button to press rather than going to a keyboard.
I've got on the X55. I've got switches. My landing gear is a switch.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna go out on a limb here, although I don't think it's much of a limb. I'm gonna say that I think we all recommend this highly to everyone that can play. Hey, and Matt from Crowfall Reporter says that he still has his Microsoft Sidewinder from 2002. Still works great for Elite Dangerous.
Ooh, that's retro, but very cool.
That's gotta be like a game port connection. Remember those little 20 pin connectors, or 25 pin connectors? I think it was.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was the way. That was the way of it.
My Microsoft Sidewinder, that was the standard for joysticks way back in the day. Those were elite stuff.
And it's USB, he says. All right, Bill, moving along. Next story. So, yes, go buy Elite Dangerous Arena. Spend. It will be under $10, very well spent.
So, getting away from Elite and getting into Funcom. How about that? So this was an interesting one. And when I first saw this story, we're going to do a little bit of inside baseball for MMO Reporter. Chris put this story into the show notes. And I looked at this and I thought, oh my God, Chris, could you have come up with a more boring story? Because the link was actually the Reuters article that we're going to have in the show notes. And all it talks about was the former CEO of Funcom, Trond Arne As. I feel like it's a bad joke or something like that.
Sounds like you're insulting the guy.
Yeah, well,
Oz, maybe?
Anyway, he's getting in trouble for market manipulation and insider trading, which, oh God, a CEO gets nailed for insider trading. Let's talk about that on our MMO show. But when you read into it a little bit more, we got to go back many years in time. So basically, when Secret World was coming out, Trond Arne As quit. He left Funcom, and at the time that he left, he divested a ton of his stock, and he was actually fairly public, if I remember, saying that this game is going to suck and it's going to tank Funcom. So predictably, the game did not do as well as everyone had hoped, and Funcom stock went down, and Norwegian authorities decided, you know what, this seems a little bit like insider trading, and started investigating him. And this actually led up to a big raid on the Funcom offices back in 2014. Do you remember, Chris, that we talked about that? And there was this huge event with flashing lights in the office getting suddenly raided with officers, and nobody really knew what was going on. Well, now it's fairly clear that they were basically fishing for insider trading issues against Trond Arne As. So that's all come to a head. He's officially been charged with insider trading now, and it's happening. So this is just glorious, though, that it's hilarious to me that he obviously bailed on a project that he hated, but he also ran. Like, he was in charge of this game's development, so to kind of try to wash his hands of it and just walk away seems a little bit, what's the word? I just want to say but I feel like there's a more eloquent way to say that. But anyway, we'll stick with probably. So he's done that, and now he's really paying for it. So not only did he drive his company into the ground, made his name dirt, he also apparently broke the flippin' law.
Harry, what do you think?
I think it's not that interesting to discuss any further than we already did, because it's already been discussed. The guy did something bad, and now he's charged, and that's good.
It's unfortunate, because I wonder if that had any effect. His opinion of the game had any effect in that sort of tail end of development. But all right.
Well, you do realize that if the CEO of Funcom basically bet his fortune on the fact that he thought the game sucked, what does that say about the game?
Right.
I mean, it's not. I never liked it.
Well, it is a great zombie standing around barrel simulator.
Yeah, and that's the first 2 hours of the game, and then after that, you just let it go.
Letters about that.
It's not a bad game. Like, as MMOs go, it's decidedly middle of the pack. It's not a world beater, but it's not terrible.
You know, it's one of the few games that Carrie from MMO Reporter still subscribes to. She subs to it. She loves it.
Look. If you, it's not bad, but it's not good. I think that's the best description. But I never understood. It's like people buying an Android phone, and I think, why would you buy something like an iPhone if you can actually get an iPhone? Okay, now we're going to get letters.
You can send your email to.
And you wonder why people hate me on the internet. I mean, it's amazing. I'm such a likable, lovable, diplomatic guy. Let's move this thing on.
On that note, where we make the entire listening audience love our host, let's talk about our sponsors. Audible. You can go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter. Sign up for their monthly subscription where you get one audiobook per month. You will get your first month free just by going to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter. Audible is the home of the best audiobooks out there. Doghouse Systems, use the coupon code MMO Reporter at doghousesystems.com for a free 120 gigabyte Super Star Destroyer drive with your purchase. They will add that to your computer. That's right, a 120 gig SSD added to your purchase just by using the coupon code MMO Reporter. All right, we're going to add something a little bit different to this week's show, and I'm going to talk about the piece of hardware that I'm taking a look at right now, and that is the Mad Catz Pro X mouse. And I have been using a Mad Catz MMO7 for many years, probably 3 or 4 years. And I absolutely love that mouse. It was incredibly modifiable. It was very programmable, and it fit very well in my hand. And now I have got the Pro X to take a look at. And I really, really like this mouse. First of all, I'll start right with that. I do believe this will be my new main mouse as I move forward. It is like all the other Mad Catz products. It is very customizable. You can change the thumb pinky rest. You can change the palm rest. You can change the position of the palm rest. Not only that, they've got these little plates on the bottom that are magnetic that you can flip, put on and off, that have different surfaces on it. Right now I use the ceramic, but they also have a Teflon one that's super slidable if you're a shooter person. Speaking of shooters, if you are all about the mouse sensitivity and you are the type of person to play with your settings on your mouse, they actually have 3 different swappable sensors that you can take in and out very, very easily, and they change the sensitivity of the mouse setting. But what I think is the coolest part about it is the mouse wheel arm. Instead of having sort of a tube go underneath the left and right mouse buttons through the mouse wheel and then maybe some tilt to it, the mouse wheel actually has an arm that goes back into the main body of the mouse, and you can push on the mouse left and right in an analog fashion. It's an analog sensor, and you can get that set to different buttons and different controls in the software. The software is super easy to use, really enjoyable process, and I just really, really liked it. The downside about it is this is quite expensive. This is a $199.99 MSRP, so it's a couple $100 to buy this mouse. It's got three.
That's a lot of bucks for a mouse.
It's really expensive.
How much did you say?
$199.99.
But that's a quarter. It's a quarter Oculus Rift.
Yeah, it is insanely expensive. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to use, this is going to be my next mouse. It's got nice 3 buttons on the thumb, the left and right mouse button, less than the MMO 7, but I don't need all those buttons anyway. It's not like a Naga with tons of those buttons, and a Naga's cheaper too. But it's super comfortable. And if you're someone who does care about the changeable sensors, who would want the changing Teflon bottoms and stuff like that, this is completely and utterly worth it. Absolutely and completely worth it. So if you have some money to spend and you want to look at a mouse, I would recommend this, but I don't think that it is worth stretching your budget. Does that make sense?
If you are considering a flight stick or this mouse,
it depends how much money you've got to spend. If you can only get one and you've got a good mouse already, then I'd go for the flight stick.
There aren't really that many bad mice out there anymore.
Well, there's some ones that don't necessarily add anything to it. I don't like using just a plain old 2-button mouse. I find that I like having the extra buttons, and my hands don't fit well on most mice. My favorite mouse ever was that first-gen Microsoft Laser mouse. Bill remembers because he had the same one.
I have a 20 euro Trust gaming mouse, a GXT25.
Yeah.
And it has 2 years of warranty. It broke actually after a year, and I got a free replacement from the store with no questions asked.
Yeah.
So, but it's fine. I just can't imagine myself ever. I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday who considered buying a $1,200 dining room lamp.
Oh.
And for me, a $200 mouse falls into that category. The moment that I can spend $200 on a mouse and not even and actually think that is something I would that would have to be a really big star before I can do that.
I don't think it's a necessity. I think it's a luxury, and I think anyone who can afford the luxury will be happy with the purchase. How's that?
I can't see it. When I look at $200, there's so many things that you could buy that would be make for a better gaming experience. I mean, if you tacked an extra $200 onto the value of your video card, you'd get so much more value out of that.
But there are people who like to have something more out of their mice, and I think this is built for them.
You see, I had a Rat 5 and I liked it. It was okay, but it also mine only lasted just over 2 years. So,
right.
Yeah.
If you're competitive in MOBAs or shooters or even some PvP sort of stuff, really competitive stuff where your mouse control matters, I would not, if I had $200 where I could spend it on something and I could afford that luxury, I would not regret the purchase by having had the chance to play with it. I think that's the big thing. It's not whether or not you would buy it. It's, for me at least, because I couldn't afford $200 for a mouse. If I was paying for this myself, it was a review unit from Mad Catz. If I was paying for it myself, I wouldn't buy this. But if I had an abundance of income and I could afford it and I bought this, I wouldn't take it home and be disappointed with it. I would be incredibly happy with it.
Okay, well, that's basically if you had infinite money, but I just.
But there's some mice that I didn't like that were equally as expensive, like the Wow mouse. I thought it was okay, right?
I think it's a matter of diminishing returns. I mean, at a certain point, it doesn't. I don't see. I can imagine myself buying a mouse for $50, having really a luxury experience, but $200 for a thing.
Well, let's see what our listeners think. Would love to hear from everyone. We'll talk about the ways you can get a hold of us in the end of the show notes. We do have a correction from our last episode a couple weeks ago where Bill and I were talking about the issues with the Trade Bar store in Neverwinter. We just want to make a quick correction. You can get Zen. We talked about the only way to get Zen was to pay real money. You can get Zen through other in-game means, but we still, at least personally, I feel that the changes to the Trade Bar store were done in a way where the only appropriate response would be to roll back those changes to what they discovered in the desk post until a future update. Bill, does this change your opinion of the issues that they had with the Trade Bar store?
I not appreciably, no. It's. I mean, I view it similar as like I'm assuming that the cash shop works similarly to how Guild Wars 2's works in that. Yes, you can technically buy real money currency with in-game currency, but it takes a huge amount of time and effort, and it doesn't change where what I was saying. I don't think.
And thanks to those of you on Reddit who discussed that. Somebody posted our story, our discussion on Reddit, and there was some discussion there. So thanks to everyone who was in that thread on Reddit and discuss that. Really appreciate all of your comments. All right, a few quick mentions before we get to some breaking news. I'm going to fly through stuff here. We'll have a link to Final Fantasy XIV making it easier to take in-game selfies. Cool feature. Characters and pets will actually look at the camera when you're taking pictures, which I like taking screenshots. I enjoy that. That's cool. So if you're interested, there you go, all you Final Fantasy XIV players out there. Shroud of the Avatar preparing for full release. Harry, when is Shroud of the Avatar releasing again?
I don't know when they're exactly releasing, but they're now preparing for the final character wipe before they're rolling out the release. So that's a thing.
That's cool.
And I'm actually looking forward to this game because I've never played Ultima Online, and this is supposed to be the spiritual successor. So there you have it.
I did play Ultima Online, and I'm good. Thanks. Nope, I don't need more. So IBM is investigating a VR MMO, and I think this is a little inceptionish of them here because they're making this MMO based on Sword Art Online, which is an anime TV show about a VR MMO that traps people inside the game. So they're making a VR MMO based on a show about a VR MMO that traps people inside the game.
I think that's a very cool idea, and I've seen the anime is actually quite popular. It's I've seen a couple of episodes of it. I really like it. It's absolutely not quality entertainment by a long stretch, but it's fun. It's a nice guilty pleasure to watch Sword Art Online, and the idea of the world in the anime is there is this full immersive VR system that actually takes over your nerve system and everything. So everything you experience in the game is feels like it's real. And if you and then some evil big bad takes over the server and traps everybody inside. And if you die in the game, you die for real. So that's something that I wonder how they're going to sell that aspect of the game to the ESRB and PEGI rating boards. Might cause death.
Yeah, what does PEGI say about that? That's I want to hear the voice announcer say PEGI dead.
Yeah.
PEGI lethal.
All right.
Peggy Lethal, that's it.
Let's move things along here. WildStar will soon become the clown car of MMOs. What is that? Do you mean? They are going to squish everybody down into one server. They are changing, and this is actually a bigger post. I'm making light of it here, but there's actually a pretty big shift coming up in the WildStar PvP system, where they're going to make it viable to world PvP on this one mega PvEV, PvE, PvE, whatever server. They're going to have one server, and you're going to be able to flag yourself as PvP, and then everything that you kill that is also, like, if you can kill another player because they're flagged as well, you'll get XP and renown, etc., etc., etc. It is quite a long post, so you can go and check that out if you're interested in WildStar and their merging of the servers. They were having huge problems with the PvP server being absolutely dead. So that's sad. Hey, Bill, do you have $799 I can borrow?
Why, no. If I had $799, I'd probably go out and buy an HTC Vive.
Yep, because they're going to be $799, including room sensors, controllers, and 2 VR experiences. A job simulator, if you want to simulate jobs, because jobs are worth simulating.
Okay, did you watch you only need to watch like 30 seconds of that video.
Yeah, it's
I realize it's tongue-in-cheek, but why would you ever do that on purpose?
Accidental, you can understand, but purposefully doing this.
It's like if you double-clicked on the wrong icon and you accidentally typed something or cooked a steak here or something like that, you know what? Okay, fine. Everybody learns and that kind of thing. But
now that I've watched it looks hilarious.
It's
just like throwing everything everywhere. Oh, it's great.
Hey, when I worked in an office, my life was like this.
Like dumping the wine bottle over your head. Is that part of it too?
I still do that.
All right, and there's also the fantastic contraption VR experience as well. I got to play the HTC Vive at PAX. Bill got to watch me, I believe. You didn't get a chance to play, right?
Bill just got to watch.
Thrilling.
Yeah,
I got to watch Chris dance around.
We tried to get Bill in, but unfortunately they were out of demo time.
So many double entendres, and you're just ignoring it.
I was going to say, they encouraged me to throw money at him while he was doing it, but I didn't.
I was leaving all those out there for you guys. I'm surprised you only took those few. So anyways, HTC Vive.
There's a G-string joke here.
Great system. Really enjoyed it at PAX, and I want $800. Can I please have $800? Because this is going to be cool.
Actually, why not just, if you're going to throw money at a VR device, I agree that the Vive is cool, but it's not marginally better than an Oculus. And this is my high hope, PlayStation VR isn't that, I mean, for what you're going to get, it's basically on par with Oculus Rift experience.
I hope so. I liked the controllers. I had not had as interactive and as detailed of an experience in anything Oculus Rift as I had with that HTC Vive demo. Nothing was as immersive.
It's going to be interesting. This, it's all in the style of game development, and it's all going to be. It's going to get back to what happened with the Nintendo Wii. If people actually want to be up and moving when they're playing a game, the HTC Vive is going to be huge. If the status quo remains and people prefer to keep their butts planted in a chair while they play, the Oculus Rift is the better tool, and we'll see what bears out.
It also has to do with the experience, the motion sickness, which is inevitable if you. The big thing to tackle is movement through the game world, and the one way of tackling it without getting sick is by making it a sitting down experience. This is why Oculus has always said this is going to be a sitting down experience. You have to sit down and experience games from a cockpit view or something like that. Mm-hmm. And if you walk around, you need a 2x2 room in an HTC Vive experience, and even then you can't really. It's not a holodeck, which simulates you can't walk for 2 miles if you're in a 2x2 room. So that will limit where you can go into the game world much more, I think, than you have a sitting down experience.
But have you tried it yet?
No. I'm looking forward to playing with the HTC Vive because,
What was that peripheral that they made? It was like basically like a treadmill that you could change direction in, and that simulated that was like your holodeck being able to walk around everywhere.
Yeah.
So you combine that with your HTC Vive, and then you're approaching holodeckness.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to do the Omni it's called. It's this platform. Please combine that with Call of Duty. And all those people who thought they were such heroes running through the game world, out of breath in 2 minutes, just like, please, let me get my breath. No, you go ahead. I'll just stay here for a while.
You know what's going to happen is everybody will play a sniper.
Yeah. All right, last story here before some breaking news. This one goes out to all you Star Citizen fans out there. Harry, this one's for you. BBC did an investigation, a visit to a couple of...
fluff piece.
What's that?
A fluff piece.
Yeah.
I've been in those 200 comments on my article. This video was thrown at my face so many times. Like, no, the BBC actually got it right because they're just saying it like it is. Yeah, they're not being critical at all.
No, but what it does do is it does give you some insight into the way they're building the game. It's a little bit of super positive. This is not analysis. This is just entertainment. So if you want to see a little bit more Star Citizen, a little bit about how they're making the game, go check out the video. We'll have a link in the show notes.
I don't know why this game angers me so much. It's almost like it's like a Star Citizen killed my grandma or something.
Nobody
I don't know
knows
what it is.
Harry, nobody knows.
I should really just calm the F down about this, I think.
Yes. Calm the F down. All right, Harry, you had breaking news. Go.
Well, actually, I just found out that Frontier is, as we said, ramping up for the release of the new patch, which is called 2.1 The Engineers, and it's going to include a lot of new things that we've already discussed. One of the things I didn't know they were even considering is the ability to name planets and stations and ground-based facilities in the game. And there is a caveat though, because they're considering adding that as a premium option in the Frontier store. So that would mean you can actually pay real cash to have your planet called the moon Chris Roberts or whatever. And if you can actually imagine that this will be a difficult thing to get right, because I can understand this as a vanity thing. If you have a group of players and you want to buy your own station, let's call it the MMO Reporter station, whatever, and it's I can see that it's an added value for some people, but you don't want to make it too cheap, because then every place will be called something stupid. Or you make it too expensive and people will say, oh, look at that. Frontier is asking for so much money. They must be in trouble, or they're doing microtransactions. So I'm very interested in how this is going to work out. But the fact that they're actually considering this, I find that a very interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not excited. I one of the things I love most about Elite is that it's a serious game, and it's pretty healthy in terms of immersion. And I'm sorry, if I came across a moon called MMO Reporter 7, that would take me right out of it, and that would be it's almost as crass as having actual in-game advertisements as far as I'm concerned.
You know what? You're going to have like Station Captain Poopy Pants is what it's going to be.
There's going to be a filter on that, obviously. But then again, I landed on a planet, and there was a city there called Archer Enterprises.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, it's not funny, but it was like, at first I saw Archers, and I thought, hey, that's Archer's Enterprises. Okay. This is not a coincidence. This is something that was intentional. But so funny names are already in the game, and I can imagine there are some player name things in the game already, like player named factions that are not named by Frontier, by the community. So there are options for that, but I do agree. I don't want this to be pop culture reference 101.
Yep. Okay, so there you go. There's some breaking news, and that is it for our show for this week. Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, how would they do that?
Well, there's a few different ways. You can head over to MMOReporter.com to check out the central hub for all your MMO Reporter nests. You can email mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can facebook.com/MMO Reporter to see our Facebookiness there and throw us some likes. And actually, pretty soon you can throw us some other emotes. Apparently, Facebook is branching out from binary. So
you can love something.
Oh, love.
Or you can be angry about it.
Yeah,
love
you can't just like it,
Facebook.
I posted a picture of my lunch, and somebody had an angry emoticon next to it. Why are you angry about my lunch? I mean, I can imagine
that was a hateful sandwich, and you know it, Harry Hall.
It was homemade chicken pesto salad on roasted mice bread. I mean, how can you be angry at that? That
I'm pretty
delicious.
sure it was voting for Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Anyway, you could tweet at any of us, either at MMO_reporter, at Harry Hall, or at MMO Bill. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778. Visit us on YouTube, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can Patreon at any of us. We love our Patreons. Patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Or if Patreon is not your style, you can head over to MMOReporter.com/support for some other ways that you can help us keep the old MMO Reporter factory churning out quality widgets like this.
Nice. Well done, Bill. Well done. Good job. Hey,
thank you.
Harry, thanks for coming and recording with us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure, as always.
Thank you so much. I've been here quite often recently.
You have. It's been increasingly tolerable.
Yes, I have.
Increasingly.
Yes, it was almost bearable.
Yeah, I agree. Bill, as always, lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a treat, Chris. And Harry, if I ever see one of your sandwiches again, I'm just going to lose my ever-loving shit, I swear.
All right. Thanks to everyone for listening or viewing the podcast. We sure appreciate it. We hope that you enjoyed this show and all the ones following it. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your olds you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at.
Go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter.
You can't out-threat the tank.
Did this last night too.
Is this the techno remix version?
There we go.
You and think you'll last the fight and anger me. Wipe the group and never clear the raid. More than deeds is all you have to do to make the raid.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.